Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this, and you're tuned into the only sports podcast that has brains and bars. It's a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. I am one half of the dynamic duo. I am A1. You can also call me Carlos. You can call me Dan. As you can see it by my screen name, you can also call me a black man. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, selecting It's a Black and White Thing in the search tab or searching for Brains and Bars. You can find that wherever the good podcasts are found. We're on Google Play, Spotify. We're also live on YouTube. First of all, I think we referenced this the last time we did a show. We have crossed our first kind of major threshold, that is 100 subscribers. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the show. Continue to subscribe, continue to like, hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live or every time a new video drops. Thank you, guys, for everyone who has watched, shared the broadcast so far. We really appreciate it. We're also live on my Facebook page. We're live on the It's a Black and White Thing Facebook profile, as well as the Twitter profile. You can find that just by searching at Brains and Bars on Facebook, Twitter, or IG. Trying to think, man. I am awardmerch.com for anything award related. I am award.com, I believe, for any other info. And yeah, man, like we got a dope shows for you tonight. Now the homie A1 is not A1, A Ward, excuse me, is not in the building tonight, but I got my homie, my ace, Maurice Elston, contributor to Arrowhead Pride, also known as Reese Nichols. You know, he's in the building tonight holding it down in A Ward's absence. So Reese, what's going on with y'all? You doing today?
What's good with it, bro, man? I cannot complain. Cannot complain. Happy to be here, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you jumping on with me. I'm gonna have a quick moment of transparency here, right? So,
All
as
right.
a quote unquote content creator, there are days where you just don't feel like doing this.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But he also is part of a trio that has a dope podcast, a men's relationship podcast. I don't know if that's the correct way to
Yeah,
describe the
a men's
podcast.
podcast that talks about relationships. No,
Thank
that's
you,
like
thank you. Hey,
let's
listen,
clear that
Hey,
up.
listen. We're not doing. Hey, all these
Heterosexual.
men are
My
right,
lady is
right.
right here, just
They're
so we can make
they're
sure that's
they're in
clear.
hetero relationships, so they talk about things that pertain to men in relationships. So if you have an interest in that, it's called Talk Dat Real. They just
Yeah,
underwent a name change, a brand change. It's called
yeah.
Talk Dat Real podcast. So go and check them out, man. Those are good brothers. Shout out to B. Shout out to Los, man. Go check them out. You can find them wherever you find all of the good podcasts. Where you find this podcast, they're also live, not live on YouTube, but you can also check them out by searching Talk That Real on YouTube. So, yeah, man, it's just some days, like I have to get over myself and be like, Los, like you got to get up and do it, because if you don't,
Got
because I
to.
know me, it'll be 2 years before this computer gets fired up again, and I
Man,
actually
listen.
create some content, man. So I just want to
Trust me,
say
I
that
get it.
all of the content creators out there, man, like you may not feel like it. It may not end up being your best work, but do it anyway, because you get the reps, you build up the stamina is not the word I want to use there, but I don't know another word to use. You build up the repetitions, you build up the muscle memory, you build up the repertoire, if you will, or whatever words you want to use,
It's the
man.
only
And
way you're gonna stay relevant
yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
I mean, tomorrow will be my actually my third podcast of the week recording, and
Ooh.
that would only be Wednesday. So and
I
then
don't
I
envy you,
had
my brother.
Arrowhead Pride Sunday night. Then we here tonight, and then we record for Talk That Real tomorrow, man.
But see, I mean, at least in this one, right? You're not I don't know how much of the driving you're responsible for on Arrowhead Pride, right? I
Not
know
a
I
lot.
was,
I contribute. They drive. I share, retweet stuff like that.
and see,
But
that's the best part, when you can just somebody like, yo, we want you on. All right, bet. What we doing? Just show up.
right.
Cool. Versus, hey, welcome to the show, or you got to cut up clips, or you got to
But the
post, you got
hard
to
thing is like I
engage.
still got to write, so I still got to write for them in the midst of the podcast. I mean, and most of the stuff that you probably see when it comes to social media with Talk That Real is me.
Yep.
Okay, so B handles a lot of the editing and getting the video up, but then far as the social media marketing part falls on a lot of my shoulders a lot of times. Somebody else may post it, but I'm normally the creator of it. So it's a
You
lot.
know,
It can be a lot.
listen. If somebody's out here, if you want to get your editing chops up, get your social media chops up, I don't have money. I can't pay you. I can't. I don't really know other than hey, shout out this person. If
Get your
you want,
purchase.
that's not true. I can pay you very little, very little money dollars. I might be able to throw like $20 or something like once a month your way. But hey, if you want to come chop these clips up and post them, because your boy be like, because like for me, like, and we're gonna get to the sports. We're gonna get to the sports in a second, but it's like, you get to I forget that there's Hootsuite where you can post all this stuff
Mhm.
online, right? And you can set up but even with that, right, it's not, I don't think it's such a thing as like a one post for everything. Like you have to kind of build it out one by one by one. And like I said, this is first world problems, people, right? I don't want to make it seem like I am ungrateful. I don't enjoy what I do, but it is work, it is time consuming. And
Yeah.
you have to
Somebody
try to
don't feel like
find
doing
the
it. Just being honest.
yeah, you just got to find a space to do it. And just like today, I'm like, man, I don't know, but I'm like, we didn't record last week, and I know if I go 2 weeks in a row, then the engagement starts to fall in terms of listeners and all that good
Yeah.
stuff. So we keeping this thing rolling, man. We're gonna keep it rolling. So with that being said, now that I've gotten my grievances out of the way, let's get into some sports talk, man. So last night, national championship game takes place. San Diego State takes on UConn. UConn basically they were down early in the game. By the way, shout out Mama Ward in the building. I threw her comment on the screen. Shout out her for joining us tonight. Um, I UConn takes control of this game very early on. They don't relinquish control. I mean, they go
Never
on
look
like
back.
a I think it was like 14, 15 point run unanswered. They get the lead. They get it to double digits by half. And there was one moment late in the second half where San Diego State gets it down to us. I think got it down as close as six. And then once again, UConn puts on another finishing kick. They end up winning by double digits. They become the third national. They become the third team to win a national championship to win every game by double digits, joining 2018 Villanova and 2009 North Carolina, winning all their games by double digits. They were incredibly dominant leading up to that point, really just blowing teams off the map. This one, again, they were never once they got the lead, they were never truly threatened except for that one moment in the second half. So from what you saw that game, like what was your thoughts on UConn's performance?
I mean, UConn. I mean, honestly, I didn't know that they was going to run it like the table like this. Honestly, I think I had them going to the Elite Eight, and that was it. And but as you seen them, you was like, man, they the best team right now in this tournament, and like it was no doubt about it. And I was pulling for San Diego State. I wanted to, kind of the underdog to win. But once San Diego State came out hot, came out quickly and started quick. But once you kind of snatched them keys back, they was like, I think like San Diego State made like a run second half, got it to within 6 or 7.
Yep.
And UConn was like, nope. It took it right back. And it was one play that I think that changed. Dude had like a fast break layup and readjusted to try to miss the contact and blew it. And then went down there and they like hit a three or something. It was like that
Yep.
that that,
Yep.
that was it.
That was
That
a
was it.
huge swing. That was a huge swing. Like
It was
he
like a
came
5 point
down.
swing.
Yep, he came down. He had a shot blocker met him at the rim, and like you said, he tried to adjust in midair. It just missed. UConn gets it back down the court, and they hit the three. And like you said, they kind of they get it a little bit. I think they might get it closer one more time after that, but then UConn goes on another run, and that was the game. And
They just defend so well.
oh my, that
I
is
like
it. Like that's the thing for me, bro. Like me personally, I love a good offensive basketball game. I love seeing teams go up and down. What I love for me, the apex of basketball is when you have a team, one who is defending their butt off. So I'll say like think about the Rockets and the Warriors in the playoffs where that game goes, it goes 7 games. I think the Rockets missed like 27 threes in a row in that game 7. Chris Paul gets hurt. If Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, they win the game by that series,
absolutely.
in my opinion. But you watched how Houston defended them on that 3 point line and running them off the 3 point line and closing out hard, not over committing, but at certain points, like you still have two of the greatest shooters in on the planet two of the greatest shooters ever. And sometimes even with great defense, they're still able to score. I love that. But I love nothing more than to watch a team simply say, man up, we're locking you down.
Locking
And
down.
that's what they did.
And
I
they
mean,
did.
they went like 10 minutes, I think, in that first half without scoring a shot from the field. They had a couple of free throws, but they were not hitting shots. And it was because UConn, if the Aztecs and if an Aztec got into the lane on a dribble drive, there was someone to shut down that lane, able to recover to his man. If the ball was being kicked around the perimeter because they had an opening, they're hitting the rotations. They're digging down. I mean, it was a clinic, and that was
It
a
was
thing
just
for.
discipline, man. Like they just
Oh
looked
my
so
god,
disciplined on defense, man. And it was like dudes in the lane, pump faking, switch, like moving good footwork. And I mean, UConn is not budging.
not budging. They
I'm
had the
like,
help. They had the shot blockers coming over from the weak side. Like I mean, just it
when
was
you say defensive
masterful.
clinic, that's what that was. It was a defensive clinic. Like,
Absolutely, absolutely, and
and I
that's
don't
like
think
when
no
we.
team that would have got there, no matter if they, no team was messing with that.
I think so UConn got in. I think they were under. So there was their record in the non-con was undefeated. They did not lose a game in the non-conference. All of their losses came in their conference in the Big East. They got ranked as high as number 2 in the season. They defeated one of the few teams to defeat Alabama this year. They got into their conference schedule, and I think they lost like 6 in a row, like either 6 in a row, like 5 or 6 in 5 of the next 6 games at one stretch. And so, I think the stock on them dropped. But I mean, I honestly did not watch enough of Big East basketball to be up on them or Marquette or Creighton or any of those teams in the tournament. But I mean, shout out to Danny Hurley, man. He had those boys ready to play. Not only, but then even on the offensive game, like offensive side, their sets are really crisp. Like it's not one of those teams where they're running these sets where they're just simply trying to, like, I'm going to pick on Virginia because I feel like Virginia does this, where they run sets basically to try to hope that you make a mistake, you lapse for a second defensively to get
Oh
a
no,
shot. No, they're running sets so to get this personal look, to get it down in the post
they
to
was getting any look
Sanogo.
they wanted, and it wasn't because that San Diego State wasn't trying to play defense. It was just a clinic, man.
Yeah, yeah,
It
and
was
San
just a
Diego
clinic
State,
on
one
both
of the
ends of the floor.
yes, and San Diego State's one of the better defensive teams in the league. I mean, in the NCAA. So it's not like they were doing it against bums. Like they were just
Right.
able to execute. They got out and ran, got points in transition off of turnovers. Man, like it was just a really, really good team. I don't think this is a great team. It's not an all-time team, but just a really good team that put together
Yeah,
a really
it's all
dominating
around team.
tournament performance. So shout out to them, man. And like this season, as someone who tapped into the season once football season was over, and I think I said this going into the tournament, I just there was no great team. Teams could get hot for a second, but then they would have a clunker or they wouldn't play up to their level that they had played previously.
Hmm.
And I think you saw that throughout this tournament where you have a KU who ends up falling in the second round. Marquette, who was a 2 seed, right? Like you have a Final Four with no seed higher than 4, which is UConn.
That's crazy.
Um, and so, I mean, it was just the parity is at an all-time high. And you're seeing, again, I've talked about this before, you've seen this paradigm shift in recruiting where the blue bloods are not the ones who are stacking up all these 5-star recruits. Now with NIL, I think everybody thought NIL would be the thing that changed the game for the worse for these smaller schools. You're seeing mid majors, you're seeing the FDUs, you're seeing Fordham, you're seeing Princeton, you're
Hmm.
seeing FAU, right? Make this run. And if they don't collapse in that semifinal, they would have been in the title game. And I honestly think
Right.
FAU might have been a better matchup for UConn than San Diego State because San Diego State was prone to stretches of offensive ineptitude. So, but you're seeing these kind of where did these schools come from make these kind of runs? And you're going to continue to see it, I think, in my opinion, because of the transfer portal, and because you don't have the continuity from year to year between teams. If a team
Yeah.
gets hot, they can make a run. And I'll say this before we move on. I hope it continues to happen because so I ended up in Houston for a funeral, or in Beaumont, which is about an hour, a little bit of an hour outside of Houston. And so if I would have been able to like get down to Houston, say on Wednesday or Thursday, really lock in with my family, spend time with my family, come Saturday, I would have been back in Houston to go to a Final Four game. Why?
Yeah.
Because those tickets were the cheapest I've ever seen. Um, the title game, you could have got down into the lower bowl for like 100 before after taxes, $200.
That ain't bad at all. At all.
Listen, the cheapest
I
ticket
dropped that.
last year.
Yeah, I'll drop that in a heartbeat.
The cheapest ticket last year when you had Duke, Carolina, Kansas, and Villanova, all blue bloods. When you had that semifinal day, the cheapest ticket was like $1,300.
Yeah.
And that was to sit like where you be doing this,
right,
trying to see the action, right? And so like I'm like I as a Carolina fan, I would love for them to win a national championship and win. But if I want to be in attendance and say I went to a Final Four, I need FAU back. I need San Diego State back.
I finally found me a team, man. I finally found me a team, and I'm rocking with them, man.
K-State.
Yep.
Man, no, like, going to the league, man. He's not coming back.
It ain't even just him, bro. Like, and this is how I like it because when you find a team, it should be organic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it happened. I didn't pick K-State to go nowhere in the bracket. Honestly, like my lady, she was all on. She picked K-State to win it all. With but I was like, there's no way. But I started watching them, and I'm like, I like this team. Then you start hearing some of the stories. And sad thing is, like, we got all hype. We became K-State fans. We K-State, that's the team. We go buy shirts and everything. The day we buy the shirts, the day they lose. It's our fault. But nah, like I'm rocking with K-State, man. I organically just started liking them, and it was based on like the lady was rocking with them. Like I said, she picked the bracket like K-State all the way. And I'm like, no, there's no way they even make it past. I think I had them losing in the 32. Like, yeah, but no, man. I know he going to the. I hope he goes to the league. I hope his size doesn't, knock him. But I think even if he don't get drafted, somebody will give him a shot. And I think if you give him a shot, he'll do his thing. Here's my only knock with him because he made me mad because he pulled some LeBron type stuff on the final thing of the game. Take the shot, man. Don't pass the ball, man.
Bro, but that's where being 5'8" is a disadvantage.
I don't care. I'd rather you get your shot a lot.
Nah, bro. Like because if he takes that shot, it would have been like a logo 3 because they had him almost triple team. I think
he probably hits that joint.
Nah, man.
At least he gets it off. Like, dude didn't even get a shot off, man.
You gotta do the right thing there. You gotta get the pass out, and he got it off to a guy who could make it, who was taller, who could make a shot from distance like that. He fumbled the pass, and when he went back up to shoot it, he got stripped
because he wasn't ready for the situation, man.
Nah, he made the right play in that situation.
It was the right play. I won't like it was the right play.
I mean, listen, I'll say this about K-State. I like Jerome Tang.
Yes.
He's a longtime assistant at Baylor with Scott Drew, first year as a head coach, and they make the Elite Eight. And so, like, I really like him, and I'm curious to see, if Keontae Johnson, I'm pretty sure he's going to leave. Yeah. Obviously, Noel has said he's put his name in for the draft. If not, if those guys come back.
Is Keontae a junior? I thought he was a senior.
He is a senior. So he had a little bit of his story. He had a heart issue. I believe he collapsed on the court while he was at Florida, sat out, transfers to K-State. So, I mean, like, he is and he was thought to be like a high draft pick prior to all the health issues. So
he get another year eligibility?
I got to look into that. I had to look and see if he still has another year. I'm assuming he might because he basically sat out a year because of the medical issue. So he might still have one more. But again, he's 22, in the NBA, like the longer you wait to get into the league, age becomes a negative for you, right?
Yeah, if he has a chance, like if his agents do some research and he had a chance to get drafted or get, picked up after that and get a chance, he got to take
it. Yep. So I assume he's going to put his name in the ring, in the hat to at least be evaluated, maybe go to the combine because they've pushed the deadline back to allow you to get a little bit more evaluation to be able to hear more from teams on whether or not you have a chance to be drafted or where you might be drafted. And so if he gets positive feedback, I assume he's going to leave, right? So he can start working on getting to that second contract. But yeah, man, like I like Jerome Tang, and I hope that he is someone that will continue to build good teams and have a competitive squad. Now, My question is how long is he going to be at K State, right? Because
Right.
K
That's the
State's not.
thing.
It's not historically known as one of those places where if you're going to be a great coach, you're going to stay forever,
Yeah, he started
right?
winning. He gonna get some calls. That's gonna be.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, listen, I rock with Hubert Davis at North Carolina, but if Hubert don't get his act together the next 2 years, hey, and if K State's still putting up good squads, I wouldn't be mad at them reaching out to Jerome Tang to see,
If he has to
what's
take
good.
it, he
If
has to.
Carolina comes calling, absolutely,
You got to take
absolutely, you got to take it. So, but we'll see, man. I that's not a bad team to pick, but I'm just saying, like next year, if they 14-14, don't say
it.
you
Hey
weren't
man,
warned.
listen, bro. I've been through the Chiefs Chiefs season before pre Andy Reid, and I've been through the Lakers season that was not listening. So I know how to lose gracefully.
Okay,
Like
cool.
I know how to sit through some tough seasons.
Bet it up, bet it up. All right. So before we move on to talking about the women's game, first of all, I want to shout out to Blake Fox. Blake Fox was the winner of our bracket challenge. He picked UConn to win, and so his bracket. I think he only had UConn was his only Final Four team. I don't have the bracket in front of me, but they ended up winning. So congrats to him. I think of the people that we know that are closest to us. Shout out to the homie Jesse Abbey's son, Jackson Abbey,
Right.
finished third. So I think he picked Bama to win. So if Bama would have won it, he would have won it. So he was the of the people that we know in our circle. He was the one who finished the best. I have no idea where my bracket was. I'm pretty sure it was near the bottom. Mine was trash. So,
Mine
but
was
yeah, man.
trash.
But
Like the
salute
one
to
I did, I
everyone,
finished like last.
man. Salute to everyone who participated. We thank you. We'll do it again next year. And yes, Blake, I did. We reached out to him today, made contact, and made sure he was paid
Who'd
his
you have win
winnings.
it all?
I had UCLA.
Me too.
And I honestly thought UCLA would have won it had they not. They suffered too many injuries.
Yeah,
They
I
lost one of
had
their.
UCLA winning too, so we was on the same page.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Yeah, once they lost their big man, and then Drew Timmy went off for like 80 billion points in a row. So that's it is what it is. And I thought they were going to win that game when they hit the jumper. I thought maybe they could hold on, but then they come back and hit the stupid Villanova play.
Oh my God.
And I just leave it at that. I just leave it at
You
that.
hit
They
that
they
shot, you deserve to win at the end of the day.
you deserve to win for sure, for
You
sure.
hit that shot, you deserve to win.
All right, so let's talk about this women's game. So, Sunday, the women's championship game went down. I almost said South Carolina. Iowa versus LSU. Entertaining game. One of the highest, if not the highest scores women's final ever. I believe the final score was like 101 to 92 or something like that. Um, LSU in shoot. Now people call her Bayou Barbie, and now I can't think of her name. Kim Mulkey wins her first championship in LSU, the first championship in LSU women's history as well. But the game did not end without some controversy. At the end of the game, Angel Reese had a couple of things to say to star player Caitlin Clark. She did I feel like this is the Tony. It's known as the John Cena thing, but I feel
It's the
like this was
Tony
Tony
Yayo, man.
Yayo.
It's the
Yeah,
Tony
this was
Yayo.
Tony Yayo thing
Anybody know
first.
hip hop history? Know that's the Tony
Yeah,
Yayo.
yeah. It's so we're gonna call it the Tony Yayo. Hits her with the Tony Yayo. Then she points to the ring finger. Follow as the clock's winding down. Follows behind her. Does this again. Points to the ring finger as the clock runs down. Then goes and celebrates with her team. And so this started a massive uproar on social media with people calling her classless, calling her an idiot with an expletive in front of it. And I'm pretty sure there were worse things that were said, but that was just said by visible media members upset about her talking trash. She did not back down. She doubled down on it by saying, "Look, I heard what y'all said about me all year. Y'all call me ghetto, y'all call me hood, but I'm being me. I'm gonna continue being me." And I do this for people who look like me, for young women who look like me, who maybe want to play ball and feel like they have to play a certain way.
I ain't mad
Caitlin
at it.
Clark, she downplayed it, and even today she did an interview where she was like, "Look, she gets to talk her talk. Let her talk her talk." So I'll ask you, right? I know you didn't get a chance to watch the game, but I mean, you caught wind of the
Yeah,
uproar. I'm pretty sure you guys will talk about this on your podcast as well when you guys meet up. So your thoughts on kind of all the uproar that happened around Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark?
man. Listen, this is the perfect show to talk about it all. It's the black and white thing, right? That's exactly what it is. It's a
Yeah,
black and white thing. Like Caitlyn literally did the same thing the game before, right? And no one says nothing. Now, of course, she didn't go behind somebody following them and doing it. But to me, it's no different than Tyreek Hill running past somebody for a touchdown, peace signing in their face, and then the Bengals getting him back when they won the game and threw the peace sign right back up right in his face, right? Like that's sports, man. Like you gonna have moments like that. You're gonna have trash talk, and like you don't want to win. That's always like if you don't want the trash talk, you don't want people saying that to you. All you gotta do is win the game. You ain't gotta worry about that. When you talk stuff, and hey, listen, I'm the talker of all talk. I talk mad stuff. Like I love to. But guess what? When you don't win, you got to be ready for that to come back on you tenfold, right? And that's just the way
facts.
that you got to be able to carry it. You can't trash talk when you win, and then when you lose, somebody do it to you, and it's a problem. Now, of course, she didn't have a problem with it, don't seem, but media do. But it's the same media that didn't say nothing about her doing it. So it's like, hey, if you ain't gonna say nothing about her doing it, this person she didn't bust her tail all year for this. She deserved to talk a little trash talk. And the only thing she did was like, all right, cool, right back at you. You can't see me. You definitely can't see me now because I got that ring. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so. I have a lot of thought. I have a couple of about three or four things I like to say about the situation. I do think this was overblown. I do think your point of this being a black and white thing was clear. And I mean, it became a thing when South Carolina played Iowa in the national semifinal. And
Mm-hmm.
granted, first of all, let me start here before I even get into this situation. First, let me apologize to the women's game, right? The women's game, I football season takes so much of my attention, and when it's finally over, I turn automatically to the NBA and start trying to follow that and keeping up with that. And I kind of have, I'm looking over to the men's game kind of sporadically. I'm watching just about every Carolina game. I'm watching some other men's games, but I'm not paying attention to the women's game until we get to tournament time. And I owe y'all an apology. Your game at this juncture, at this point in time, is a better product than the men's game. Maybe athletically, it's not as athletically pleasing as the men's game from being able to dunk and high flying blocks and all this stuff and all that. But you have the more compelling players, you have the more compelling storylines, you have the better product. The Final Four for the women's game was better than the men's game, and that's including having a buzzer beater with San Diego State and FAU. But like, you cannot name five relevant college basketball players on the men's side. Marquise Noel became a star during the
Right.
tournament, and I even tweeted out in the week leading up to the Final Four that the tournament, just from a storyline and an interest standpoint, needed K State and Noel because of just how greatly he showed out during his run. But you got Caitlin Clark, you got I almost said, I mean, AZ Fudd for Connecticut is a dope player, but Paige Becker, she tore ACL, but she's a dope player. You have Aaliyah Boston. I keep forgetting the name of the guard who plays for South Carolina, but I used to watch mixtapes of her in high school. Like, that's how popular she was coming out. And so, like, you have so many of these players. Listen, bro, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You know what I found out while researching women's basketball? There is a basketball player named Beyonce. We have lived long enough to have women named after Beyonce now.
Wow.
And hold up. But let me give you the kicker though. She not black.
Oh.
She's not black. Like, I was looking up the leading scorers in the country, and I'm like, Beyonce B. I'm like, wow. But I'm like, yo, she plays for Idaho. Mm, that was the first clue, right? So I'm like, let me Google.
Right.
Let me do my Googles. I go and Google her, and lo and behold, Beyonce is white. And I'm like, yo, like, that's gonna be crazy in about 3 or 4 years when she's done with
Right.
school, and you see You go into your doctor's appointment, you like, who we got today? Beyonce.
So
Wait, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like I would love to know the backstory on how her parents decided to name her after one of the greatest pop entertainers in the world. But yes, so I found it out. But again, like they just have more compelling players that you want to watch and see. You have Angel Reese, you have Alexis Morris, you have Flo J. Johnson, who her dad was a rapper who was murdered, who was named Camouflage, right? So she gets her name from his stage name, and she raps well. Like I watched her rap bars on I-95, and I'm like,
hey,
hey,
bro,
she not bad,
that's who I watched today, bro. She can rap.
fam. You know what I'm saying? And so you have like all these compelling figures and these compelling players that you want to see. Zaya Cook is her
Yeah,
name. That's a young lady from South Carolina who I used to watch her. I watched her mixtapes like in high school. Like she was dominating back in high school. And so going forward, right? Like next year, I'm going to make sure I tune in to the women's game and watch the women's game because like I said, at this point, because there is a little bit more continuity in terms of having the same players, the star players stick with their teams and come back year after year. Even though Angel Reese was a transfer from Maryland, she started out in Maryland, was at LSU this year. So there's less transfer portal messiness. The best players are sticking with their teams. There's enough parity where you still get the top seeds who'll make it. You get your South Carolinas, your LSUs, your Iowas, but then you'll have, I think it was Maryland who shot a team. Louisville kind of goes on a run, right? So, I mean, I'm going to be locked in. Once football season is over, I'm going to be locked in on the game. So I owe y'all an apology.
yeah. I'm definitely gonna tap in more because I didn't pay attention to them none, and it was the final four. And I would say like I was off doing something. My lady, was watching and she started posting how exciting the women's game was. I'm like, I'm like, couldn't have been that exciting. And then you
Dog.
start hearing how excited the championship game was. I'm mad I missed it because everybody was hyping it up. I'm like, all right, so maybe I need to tap into this a little bit heavier than what I
Listen,
gave it.
this Final Four could be a turning point in at least, I don't know if it'll translate to the WNBA, but at least in the women's game, it could be a turning point because, like, a lot of people, I mean, people who I don't normally like, I'm casual women's college basketball fan. So I at least know who some of the relevant names are, who some of the teams are, but I'm seeing people I've never seen talk about the game. Like, yo, I'm watching South Carolina and Iowa.
Yeah,
I'm watching LSU and Iowa. And so, like that kind of brings us back kind of full circle to this point of it became a black and white thing, and it was apparent when you have this all black South Carolina team, this all white, except for I think one mixed young lady on the Iowa team. And yeah, it became a thing, right? It's in part because we don't know how to act, right? We don't know how to take kind of these, what I mean, the obvious, right? You have a black white and not just kind of keep it focused on the sport, but instead we bring in our biases, our prejudices, our rooting interests into this, and it became a racialized thing. You have
yeah,
Don Staley who comes out and makes this statement about a major media member making kind of bigoted, racist comments, racialized comments at best, racist comments at worst about them being uh she didn't say thugs. The word monkeys definitely was thrown out there,
okay,
along with some others. So that's like racist, right? Along with
yeah,
some other like stereotype coded language against her team. And so now like that just lit the fuse, right? And it exploded. And so you get to this championship game where again you have an all white team, a predominantly black team playing each other, and everybody's drawn their lines, right? And so I want to say this about I am with you. Trash talk is fine with me. I do think that Angel went too far when she walked behind her and is doing this again and pointing to the ring. You had already made your point at the free throw line.
right,
You can't see me. I'm the woman, right? This is my house, yada yada yada. You'd already made your point there, right? You didn't have to kind of add on to it because potentially, if Caitlin Clark is feeling away, now I'm not saying she can beat her up, but if she starts a confrontation, now we're talking about the ending of this game being marred by this altercation that you would have ignited, right? Like you would have
Right.
been the instigator in that moment. And so, like for me, I'm fine with her. Like I said, I want to be clear. What I'm not saying is that Angel cannot be passionate, that she cannot talk her talk. I retweeted her talking her talk. I said it with that in the quote tweet. Absolutely. Get your bars off. But don't be an instigator in that way because you could end up hurting yourself and your team in the process. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like you said, when it comes back on you, please make sure that you're able to keep your head and not respond because again, you could
Right.
hurt your team or yourself with your response. So,
Because it's coming back.
uh, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
coming back. Like it's gonna
And
happen.
I
Uh,
think, and I heard Bomani Jones say this, and I think it's fair. He talked about how that both South Carolina and LSU felt a way about how Caitlin Clark was being covered versus how they were being covered. And maybe there was no racist animus behind it, but being a black person, right? It's like, when you're in a room with a white person and they say something where they don't mean harm, but at the same time, it's just like, like he
yeah.
should, right? It's like one of those things where like it's not that something bad is happening to you, it's just the vibe, it's the feeling behind it where it's just like, man, this don't feel right. It don't sit right. And I think they felt that. And I think, especially from the LSU standpoint, I put it to you like this: the coverage of that title game felt like, come see Caitlin Clark featuring the Iowa Hawkeyes with special guests LSU. Like it just
LSU.
felt, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like it was all about her, and then everybody else was a sideshow. And listen, she has earned that through her play. Like she is a beast. She's a beast. She's earned that through her play, right? But I think at the same time, you have to be able to make room to talk about these other teams. I'll give you another example. This is probably how Bengals fans feel about the Chiefs. Is that you got Joe Burrow or you got Patrick Mahomes, and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Look at the no look passes. Look at all the different arm angles. Look at how he escapes trouble here. Look at what he's doing. And then when you have Tyreek and Travis who are still there, you got the greatest tight end ever. You got one of the fastest wide receivers ever. Look at how fast they can score. You're hearing all this stuff, and you're the Bengals, and you're beating the Chiefs. And you're like, yeah, 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 you beat them. But look at Patrick. And it's like, yo, no, wait, we got a squad too. Like, you got to put some respect on our name too. Like, we're beating them. We're the only team with a winning record against him. Like, talk about us in the same fashion that you talk about them and him. And so I think they felt slighted in the coverage. They used that as motivation. And when they won, it became like yeah, that's what's up. That exactly right.
Yes.
Right. You can't see exact right. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it spilled over in that way because they felt like they weren't getting the coverage that they deserve. And they probably felt some kind of way of, yo, like y'all giving this white girl all this praise and y'all not talking about us. And so we about to
Yeah.
show you.
As they should. That's my thing. Is like if like sometimes respect is gonna be given, and sometimes you gotta take it.
Mm,
And that's just and that's just what it is. Patrick Mahomes, like we're using that example, has took it because they keep trying to find a way to take it from him. And if we being honest, like if we want to talk the race thing, like it's true, national media would much rather have a white face be the face of every league that's happening, and that's the truth. That's why it continues to be Burrow, Herbert, Josh Allen, who has no credentials to even be mentioned with Mahomes at this time. But yet every year a new one comes out and they try to give them, oh, this must be the best quarterback. This is the best quarter. Like, no, it's not close. And the moment they tried to take it from him again and give it to Burrow, the difference was Burrow had a chance to take it. It didn't win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes took it back and then went and won the Super Bowl when he took it back so he can cancel all the noise. Right? They want to paint it that. The NBA they want to do it this hard because it's so dominant in there. But they try to do it with Joker. If he wins the MVP again over our boy in the 76ers, that's exactly what they are doing.
So I'll say this about Joker. I think that could be true, right? I'm not going to dismiss that. But I think just like Caitlin Clark, he's just so like
He's
The
good.
first, yeah, the first year he got it. I'm trying to think where they finished in the standings. They might have finished like third in the standings the first year got it. Last year, everybody like the big time players on this squad, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. get hurt. They get the 6th seed, and so he kind of was like, okay, you did it without any help. Now they have the best record in the West, right? And so now it's just like, well, dang, like triple double machine. I think up until like maybe a month or two ago, they were undefeated when he got a triple double in the game. They might have lost 2 or 3 since then, but number one seed in the West. Now, granted, the West is kind of taking a hit this year in terms of overall quality, but
Yeah.
he's still the West is still considered the stronger conference. And so, like it's like, well, dang. But you're right. Like I do think like Joel Embiid, man, it's gonna be tough. Right now, Vegas odds have him as the favorite, but it was in part because right after the Kendrick Perkins thing happened, the Nuggets went on a slide. They lost like 3 or 4 in a row, or like 4 or 5, and then you had an 8-game winning streak for the Sixers happen at the same time, and it's just like, well,
And I ain't
and
saying like
Joel was balling.
Kalen's a hooper. And so is Joker. Like they are hoopers, but you've seen it like, as many MVPs as Jordan won, he should have won more. If we're being honest, off some of the number. LeBron should have won some more off some of the season that he had, but yet they didn't want to really give it to him back to back like that.
But I
I
mean, but
mean,
that's what I'm saying though. But LeBron was not losing to white players. He was losing to Derrick Rose,
yeah,
right?
that's
Like
because it wasn't another white player that could have been there. I'm telling you, man, like they wanted they wanted to be the face. It's just hard because we are so good. But they try. Like we almost got to like do something dynamic to to get it back to back. Like you got to break records. Like if Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have broke their record this year, they'd have found a way to give it to somebody else. They'd have like, oh, Patrick Mahomes didn't break the record. Oh, Jalen Hurts got hurt. Oh, Joe Burrow. like
and
like Josh Allen got a vote.
yeah, I don't see how Josh got like.
How?
I'm trying to think. Did he earn a vote? I mean, he won his
No,
division, right? I mean, I don't
barely.
know. I
Controversially. Controversially, he won this division.
I
He
think
played,
if
he
they end
played
up with
terrible. He led the league in almost interceptions. Josh Allen didn't.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you go off the first half of the season, yes. Second half of the season, no.
yeah,
Josh Allen was average at best. In the playoffs, average at best.
yeah, yeah.
And he got a vote.
Yeah, I mean,
If I'm being
I
honest,
don't.
and I'm a fan of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't deserve the MVP last year.
You don't think so? They were number,
No.
they were number one seed. He was amazing that in 2021.
20 no, his 2020 season was way better than that 2021 season.
Really? So who should have got it in 21 in
I
your
don't even
opinion?
think I don't even think he had 4,000 yards passing in 21.
Now I gotta look this up.
And if I'm being honest, I'm not a fan. It probably should have been Tom Brady.
Okay. I mean,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I can see that.
or you still have arguments because Patrick Mahomes put up great numbers still. His interceptions was the only thing up. He didn't even get it, and Josh Allen still got a vote over when Patrick Mahomes didn't.
So let me see. 2021. No, he threw for 4,000. He
Oh, he
threw
threw
for
for
four.
okay.
He threw for 4,100. A little bit over 4,100 in
Okay.
2021.
I know it
He
was
threw for
Gurley. I
almost.
know.
Yeah, he almost threw for 43 in 2020. So not
Yeah, I
bad,
mean,
not
yeah, not
bad.
bad.
But
He
yeah,
still,
but
I think Brady's stats blew that out.
yeah, Brady. It was one of the best seasons of his career. It was one of
Yeah,
the best seasons of his career. Absolutely. But I mean, I hear your point. I hear your point of a white face, and I don't disagree. I've made that very point on the show. Before Patrick Mahomes showed up, I said, who's going to be the next face? Because I think the media, the NFL media, and desires a white face in part because it's all they've ever known, to be completely honest, right?
yeah.
You've had, Doug Williams here, you've had Warren Moon pop up, you've had Randall Cunningham, and you've had black faces, right, pop up here and there, but it's all they've ever known,
They would
right?
fizzle out quickly. Like they would stay good, but they wouldn't stay great long.
Right, right. And so, so I don't disagree with that point. But like I said, I just think it became. And here's the other part of this too that I wanted to mention. Angel has this attitude. In my opinion, right on the court, there's no one better than me. Like pre-game, she's having a crown placed, and not like the metaphorical, like I'm doing like this. No, they have a crown they're placing on her head
I love
prior
it.
to the game. So she
I
already
love
feels
it.
like I'm the queen. There's no one
As
better
you
than me. And you
should.
have the audacity to promote and blast this other woman ahead of me. Oh, I'm about to show. I'm not only am I about to
Got to
play
show you.
well, I'm about to show my tail at the same time. Like she talks a lot of trash.
I
She
love it.
talks a lot.
As long as you
And
back it
so,
up, keep talking.
yeah. And so, like,
Heavy is the
heavy
head
is
though.
the
Like
head.
heavy, like you talk the stuff, keep talking, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. You're gonna have to keep it up.
Absolutely. And so I want to close on making this point. To me, her actions at the end of the game underscore a troubling what's the word? A kind of a to me something that's troubling within youth sports that I've seen a lot. Especially I've
Yeah.
watched clips of kids play in like pee-wee basketball, pee-wee football, middle school, high school, and I'm going for the purposes of this conversation, I'm going to loop in college sports. And it's the
Mhm.
trend of kids, in my opinion, being disrespectful. It's one thing to be passionate. It's one thing to talk your talk. It's one thing to let people know that you're great. But to me, we're crossing into this line of when you're walking up behind people. And I want to show this play. This play I'm about to show. I'm gonna share my screen for those who are listening on podcasts. I will describe it for you, or you can go to the pod to Brains and Bars on YouTube and check this play out. But it's Mikey Williams. Michael Williams is one of the best high school players in the country. He's going to play for Memphis next season. And so this is a play from one of his games. So I'm going to share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. Right? All right. So you got this play right here. Mikey
Mm.
Williams, I want to let it run again. Mikey Williams booms on somebody, dunks on him. He's called for a charge. Number one, it's a charge call, which I'm kind of skeptical on that.
Oh, this is not a charge.
It's not a charge. It's a
It's not a
great dunk.
charge.
It's a poster. But Mikey, after he dunks, he flexes a little bit, starts to talk his talk, and then he walks up on the young man who's on the ground. And not only does he step over him, he steps on him. And listen,
Scotty pimping them.
Scotty Pippen them and then stepped on him. And I'm like, bro, like if I'm the team, if that's my teammate, I'm looking at
I'll
them like,
fight. We
yo,
gotta fight.
we gotta fight. Like
We got like I'm getting up off that floor and I'm coming after you, bro.
I'm
Like that
coming
that's
after you.
like
And I'm wondering, where's the
good play, but it's
referee? Like you
disrespectful.
can't right. Where's the ref to come and stop that? To want to tee
Did he
him
get a
up.
tech?
And I mean, I don't know. I don't see a tech.
He should have got a tech.
I mean, look
Yeah,
at that. Like it's an
it is.
incredible play. Incredible
It
play. Like
is.
I don't want to
And he walked
undersell that
over
at
and
all.
looked down at him. Like it ain't like he kind of could have like it was an accident. But because I
Well,
mean he did fall underneath him. He could have just stopped and stepped over him. But you walk over this man, look down at him. I
step
mean,
on it.
part of me like I love it, but then it's like if that's me on the floor, come on, like my teammates should be fighting him right now.
We about to brawl. Like it's
Yeah.
about to be a brawl. And so like, like I want for coaches, and I don't know what has happened between, and again, I see this in Pee Wee, I see it in middle school, I see it in high school, not so
Yeah.
much in the college game because it's more regulated, right? And not in the pro game, they're not letting that kind of thing happen either. But I want, people, somebody's gonna listen to this or watch this, they're gonna say, well, if the pros wouldn't do it, I'm like, nah, bro, you're not seeing that in the pros, right?
Well,
You don't
like
see.
I seen a little dude score on somebody that he did the too small.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Beverly does that to LeBron, but it's Pat Bev. You know what I'm saying? Shout out
Right.
to Russell
It's
Westbrook. Pat Bev trick y'all. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But nobody's taking Pat Bev seriously. And again, even if they do that, he's not walking up on LeBron and then doing the too small and then bumping him in the chest because he know better. He's not one, he's going to get attacked. Two, Bron might react.
Yeah.
Bron doesn't. I'll give Bron this. He had a lot of people try him. He doesn't really react too much. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want, we are at that age where we are the ones who are coaching these kids, right? Maybe you
Right.
have some late generation Xers who are coaching these kids. We have to do a better job of instilling in them better values. Again, be demonstrative, be passionate, talk your talk. No one is saying you can't talk your talk, but there's a clear
Right.
line between talking your talk and antagonizing somebody. And I don't want to see someone hurt their team, themselves, or get physically hurt because they pushing the envelope and somebody like, yo, my mama watching this. You're not about to do this to me in front of
Right.
my girl watching this. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody gonna
Yeah.
go, oh, boy for
Like
white men,
I can't be the dude that just got walked over and didn't do nothing. Like
fam.
nah, man. My reputation on the line now. Like
And
I
I
gotta
listen,
react on it.
I respect the young man for not reacting because I
I
would have
do.
reacted.
I
I
would
would
have
have
reacted.
reacted.
Good job in not reacting.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
gonna be like,
at
oh
least
boy for white men can't jump. I'm gonna
at
go to
least my
my
teammates
car,
should have reacted.
get my other gun, shoot everybody. Like, bro, like you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I gotta chill out. So again, I
Uh,
would love to see the adults kind of take control of the situation at the grad. I would have loved Kim Mulkey to pull Angel to the side and say, Angel, like your point's made. Like, come on, you gotta
yeah,
chill out.
yeah.
You gotta chill out. But man, let us know.
It's a real
Go ahead.
fine line. It's a fine line. It's really
Yeah,
fine.
let us know what y'all think about that, man. Hit us up at